Welcome back. You're watching Newsx. In a shocking incident from Delhi on June 7th at around 8:41 p.m., a call regarding the sexual assault of a minor girl was received at Dayalpur police station. Upon reaching the location, the police team found that a minor girl in an unconscious state had been taken to JPC hospital by her father, where she was declared dead on arrival. Prima facie, the attending doctors at the hospital observed visible injuries on her face and alleged sexual assault. Crime and FSL teams are currently inspecting the spot. A case has also been registered under sections 103, 66 and 13 of the BNS as well as the POCSO Act. Teams have been deployed to collect the clues and arrest the accused at the earliest. We are also getting to know that 6 teams have been formed to investigate the matter. Raids are also ongoing at multiple places in connection with the Delhi rape and murder, while the accused continues to remain on the run. My colleague Mehendi Garg is joining us live for more on this story. Mehendi, what can you tell us? You're at the location. Please share with us the details regarding the case.
Well, Malvika, right now I'm on the ground and I'll show you the visuals where the people have literally blocked the roads in, asking for the justice for the minor girl, for the 9-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted and then announced dead as soon as she reaches the hospital. You can see the visuals that how the people have jammed the main road outside that Nehru Vihar area where this gruesome crime happened, and you can see that the police officials have already gathered here, and also the barricading was already done because of the anger that people are showing right now. You can see the women, the family members, the neighbors who all are sitting on the ground and they're protesting and asking for the justice and talking about the latest developments in this particular incident, Malvika. Then yes, the 6 teams have been made to investigate this matter, and also these 6 teams are trying to find the man who is the prime suspect and who is the accused. So all these people, you can see around me that how the people have gathered here. These all are the neighbors, the family members, and the people who have anger, and who all are scared for their family members, for their women and their families, everybody have come outside their homes and are sitting in the road right now, and they are asking just for justice and the latest developments. The investigation is still under matter. The police have already gathered around this particular area as well. The barricading is also very visible. You can see that the teams, the security teams have also been deployed because of the heavy people gathering that have come here outside the road as well. And right now the Delhi police teams, the investigation team, all are investigating this matter. The CCTV footage is being thoroughly studied to understand that what all happened, and to majorly specify and to investigate that who was the accused who did this big crime of sexually assaulting a minor 9-year-old girl. And also we can say this crime has been registered under various sections. It has been registered under POCSO Act, and also other charges have been made. But right now, yes, the complete this matter is under investigation, and these 6 teams are investigating not only Delhi but also some of the major areas of the Uttar Pradesh as well. So once again, we'll try to talk to some people as well, that what all are their demand, because a lot of people have gathered here and they are asking for the justice. So what all these people are demanding, क्या demands है आप लोगों की? यहाँ पर सब लोग आप लोग इकट्ठा हो गए हैं, परिवार वाले हैं, neighbors हैं, क्या कुछ डिमांड लेकर आए?
हमारी डिमांड यही है, उसे पकड़ना चाहिए जल्द से जल्द. लड़की का दफीना भी जब ही होगा जब वो पकड़ा जाएगा, अन्य ऐसे ही रहेगा जी.
तो कब तक यहाँ पर बैठे रहेंगे? जब तक इंसाफ नहीं मिल जाएगा?
इंसाफ नहीं मिलेगा जब तक बैठे रहेंगे. यहाँ मर जावे या कट जावे, यहीं बैठे रहेंगे, कहीं नहीं हिलेंगे हम.
कहीं नहीं जाएंगे. कितना गुस्सा है? क्या आप लोग जो आसपास रहते हैं, आप अपने घर की बेटियों के लिए और औरतों के लिए सेफ महसूस कर रहे हैं?
मुद्दा ये है, लड़की किसी की भी हो उसको इंसाफ मिलना चाहिए.
इंसाफ मिलना चाहिए,
किसी की भी लड़की हो, बस ये मुद्दा है बस.
So yes, we heard, Malvika, the people on the ground, they are saying that they just want justice, and they'll keep on protesting, and they'll keep on sitting on this road, and they will ask the authorities, the government, to provide justice to that family, to the 9-year-old girl as well, and to convict the suspect and the accused very soon, because these people are very adamant, and they're saying that they'll not leave this spot and they'll sit until the justice is served. Yes, Malvika.
Well, Mendi, you're currently on the ground. You're at the location where, out of where this situation has emerged. So, you've spoken to some people. What is the situation? How are people feeling? The accused is still on the run, and he reportedly stayed in the same locality. So, what is the current situation there? If you could please take us through that.
Well, yes, Malvika, this is the current situation because people have come outside from their homes, outside of the streets, and they have reached the main road, and they're sitting on this particular road asking for justice. Once again, it is very important to understand the visuals, that how the women, the family members, the neighbors are crying. They are asking for justice, and they are saying that they'll keep on sitting at this location unless the justice is served. So you can see that some of the women have gathered here and they are asking for justice. क्या मांगे लेकर क्या
जब तक यहाँ नहीं आएगी हम यहाँ से नहीं हिलेंगे। रेखा गुप्ता को बुलाओ यहाँ पर। हम जब तक यहाँ से नहीं जाएंगे, जब बहन का इंसाफ चाहिए, अपनी बच्ची के लिए इंसाफ चाहिए, हमें अपनी दिल्ली पुलिस को बुलाओ यहाँ पर। यहाँ से कोई नहीं जाएगा जब तक। रेखा गुप्ता को बुलाओ। रेखा गुप्ता यहाँ से कोई नहीं जाएगा जब तक इंसाफ चाहिए। योगी वाला इंसाफ चाहिए। पुलिस चाहिए हमें, पुलिस हमें साथ के लिए तो उठाने के लिए हमने गोली मरवा योगी वाला इंसाफ चाहिए। योगी वाला इंसाफ, हाकिमान का इंसाफ चाहिए। जो इंसाफ होना चाहिए वो इंसाफ चाहिए।
So this is the current situation on the ground, Malvika. The women, the family members, the neighbors all are asking for justice, and they are saying that the government should involve in this, and they are asking the CM to come here to meet the family members and also to take a proper cognizance of this matter, to provide justice to the family members, and more specifically to the girl, to the 9-year-old girl who was sexually assaulted and lost her life. So this is the anger in the people, inside the hearts of the people, and they keep on asking for justice, and they are very adamant and saying that they'll keep on protesting until the justice is served, and the authorities, the government, till the time they come and meet the family members as well. Yes, Malvika.
Well, thank you so much, Mendi, for joining us. This now is a Newsx Sunday Guardian exclusive. You have till now seen our stories on Operation Sindoor, which show how we decimated Pakistan's air bases, their jets, their defense systems, and neutralized their drones. But here is one thing you might not know: Pakistan's submarine capabilities are on a stage of crisis. Only 2 of Pakistan's 5 Augusta-class submarines are currently operational. The other 3 are under maintenance for months now, facing delays in procuring Turkish upgrades. One of their 5 Augustas, in fact, has been spotted by satellite images as being stranded ashore, raising serious questions. Meanwhile, the next-gen hangar submarines, which Pakistan hoped to be its solution, is also facing uncertainty due to delays in China. India, on the other hand, is commissioning the INS Arnala, its first anti-submarine warfare shallow ship, in Visakhapatnam on June 18th of this month. I have with me here the article written by the Sunday Guardian, which details Operation Sindoor's aspersions cast on Pakistani submarines. What we see here is the Sunday Guardian article, and we can see that satellite imagery as well as expert analysis that is emerged, shows the crisis of the Pakistani Navy. So what we see here is an interesting picture. Only 2 of Pakistan's 5 submarines, Augusta-class submarines, remain operational, while the remaining 3 are all docked at the Karachi shipyard for maintenance. And meanwhile, the next generation hangar-class submarines, which are crucial for modernizing Pakistan's fleet, are also facing delays. Now, what's interesting is that Pakistan was viewing these hangar-class submarines as its chance to modernize its navy. However, the delays have expected to be extended as far as 2030. So what you can see here is serious doubts cast on the Pakistani Navy, and of course these operational limitations of Pakistan's submarines are expected to profoundly affect their strategic deterrence. So, what we see here is that Agosta submarines also have limited underwater endurance, which is measured in days rather than months. So, as I said, the forthcoming Hangar class was supposed to mitigate these limitations of the Agosta submarines. However, these also are facing operational delays, which undermine its capabilities despite Pakistan, making assurances and attempting to cover up their limitations when it comes to naval capabilities. So, this of course comes after Operation Sindoor and the damage and embarrassment sustained by the Pakistani Navy due to India's defensive action. Islamabad is also reportedly initiating strategic recalibrations with their navy, emphasizing the importance of the Hangar class submarines. However, as we saw that these are facing delays going as far as early 2030s, although these had been initiated in late 2024. So, Pakistan is now facing delays from both Turkey, which is recalibrating their Agosta class submarines, as well as their other ally, which is China, where these Hangar class submarines were expected to be made. So, we can see the damage inflicted by India after Operation Sindoor and the repercussions that this carries when it comes to geopolitics. So, we now have Joeta Basu, editor of the Sunday Guardian, joining us live for more on this story. Ma'am, how do you see the state of the Pakistani Navy? We've seen satellite imagery as well as, expert analysis that has come out. How do you see the current state of the Navy after Operation Sindoor?
It is not just a question of after Operation Sindoor, because you see the Navy was never really involved in the limited conflict that we had, and that was one of the reasons why Turkey sent its drones and ships and all, because Pakistan is in bad shape. So you see, it is not that, it is, Operation Sindoor, we are now basically focusing in that particular area. That is why we are getting to know about it, at least it's in the public domain. But it has been known for a while that the Pakistan Navy is in a bad shape, and particularly when it comes to underwater capabilities, Pakistan is in really bad shape. It's just, as the article mentions by a very senior defense journalist, in fact, as the article mentions, out of its 5 Agosta class submarines, only 2 are functioning. The rest are kind of being under maintenance for a very long time. 2 of its that the Chinese submarine, next generation Hangar class submarine, which are crucial for modernizing Pakistan's fleet, they are basically in China. They are continuing, and it is constantly getting delayed and all. And this is like at a time, because you see, when it comes to money, in spite of all the money that they have been spending on defense, which they cannot afford, and basically they have been trying to fortify their army and their air force, they have not been giving much attention to the Navy, as a result of which this lack of money, this lack of funds is showing in the way the Navy is. Okay, so this has directly, after all, Pakistan is a bankrupt country, and once it has got, is already, defense spending is already high. Somewhere or the other, one arm of the military is going to get hurt and affected. This is what is happening with the Navy.
Well, ma'am, what do you think would have been the situation if Operation Sindoor had extended into a naval battle, now that we see the deficiencies of the Pakistani military, of the Pakistani Navy particularly? What would have happened if Operation Sindoor had extended into a naval battle?
Well, we would have pounded Karachi, number one. Actual, but the thing is that we never really wanted to escalate it to that level. We could have blockaded Gwadar port, which is basically a Chinese this thing, and from where the Chinese want to function. But you see, Turkey did send a few corvettes, so I'm certain our Navy could have taken care of it. Of course, India also can do a lot in terms of construction, indigenization of its submarine force and all. A lot is happening, but then I think we would have been able to take care of them. And just two blockades, or at least even one blockade, either Gwadar or Karachi, would have had Pakistan running for cover, which anyway they did. They claim that their air force is superior to ours. But in spite of that, we saw, but they don't have air defense, proper air defense. They have got what we call Chinese mal. So as a result of which was totally exposed. And they were running for cover. I mean, we did not even need to go to the naval area. But yes, that does not mean that we can take it for granted that we are going to give them a pounding every time there is some kind of a conflict. We cannot take anything for granted. We have to constantly evolve our military doctrine and constantly keep an eye on our enemy to see that they are in no way able to, go ahead of us.
Well, I also have Professor Madhav Nalapat, who is the editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, joining me live on the broadcast. Sir, India has 3 warships, 18 submarines, and we are also now getting Rafale Marines as well as the INS Arnala. So, do you think that Pakistan fear these capabilities?
Look, let me tell you clearly, Chinese would like to keep ensuring that Pakistan attacks India over and over, that India is exhausted, and frankly, that too is a Chinese strategy. So we cannot rest on our laurels. The Prime Minister correctly said it's only a pause. There will be a resumption of hostilities when Pakistan goes in for another terror attack, and we have to be prepared for that. We have also got to prepare for the fact that there will be extensive study of the damage done by the Chinese side, and there will be an effort by them to correct those mistakes. So this is a game in which both sides are running, and one side has to run ahead to catch up. We are far ahead now, but the point is we have to keep running fast enough in terms of defense modernization, in terms of industrial production, in terms of domestic design and manufacturing capabilities. And all that we have also got to run far ahead. So the next round also will be decisive. And this time there will be a decisive battle. I think it's important that there be a decisive battle. And the situation in Pakistan, the army be exposed. So if that happens, I can tell you, it will just sharply increase the way in which the Balochis, the Sindhis, and the Pashtuns want to break away. Thank you.
Well, I also have Major General Anuj Mathur, defense expert, joining me live on the broadcast. So, despite frequent assertions of strength by Pakistan, their deficiencies or their limitations are being exposed now. So, how do you see the current state in view of what we've just learned? How do you see the state of the Pakistani Navy?
Malvika, the Pakistani Navy has never been a strength of Pakistan, Pakistani Navy is way behind the might of the Indian Navy. Look, we have 2 aircraft carriers. We got so many, 250 variety of vessels that we have. So Pakistani Navy is absolutely dependent on the Chinese assistance and maybe something coming from Turkey. But the fact of the matter is that firstly, the Navy is in a bad shape. Secondly, the maintenance and the state of the Navy is also bad. So what we need to understand that Pakistani Navy stands nowhere in front of the Indian Navy's might. Point number 1. Point number 2, the advantage of having a superiority in terms of the naval might is that we can cut off their sea lanes of communications, their maintenance, and major things coming to Pakistan from other countries. The main way of getting things, and more importantly, the weapons and other things is by this route of the sea, and it is going to be extremely difficult for Pakistan in times to come, unless they develop some kind of a naval, I am not say superiority, naval equivalence or something equal to that. I'm told that 5 out of the 8 Pakistan submarines are in the docks under repairs. So overall, Pakistan's Navy, 1, is weak, 2, is in a very poor state of maintenance, and 3, it cannot match the might of our Indian Navy because of the overwhelming superiority that we have, Malvika.
So, as you said, India is of course far more superior when it comes to its navy. We have 3 warships and 18 submarines. We are in the process of getting Rafale Marines as well as INS Arnala. So, do you think, first of all, does Pakistan fear these capabilities, and also do you think that General Asim Munir begged for a ceasefire due to this fear of anticipation of a naval escalation by India?
Absolutely, absolutely. It is not naval escalation. It is, I would say, it is, Malvika, it is naval blockade. If economically you block them, what would have hurt the Pakistanis most is a economic disruption, because the weakest thing that they have in their dispensation today is their economic condition. They are dependent on, if you allow me to use that slightly poor word, peak. They are dependent on peak. And what would have happened that if their economic activity from the seaside was blocked, then things would have aggravated to an extent that that was very, very much. One more thing I will tell you, it is not only this. This was an important aspect which forced Pakistan to get onto their knees. In addition to that, what has happened in the area where the US has had interests. So my point is, since the US interest, more importantly in the Noor Khan Airbase and many other places where the United States, the places where F-16s are there, where we're stuck, that was another thing which mounted pressure on Pakistan. But a very significant portion of the pressure that was mounted on Pakistan to succumb came from the Navy side. Malvika.
Well, sir, there is another article by the Sunday Guardian that is titled "Pak Bases with US F-16 Among Targets Hit by India Show Documents." The article reads, as per the latest assessment, at least 21 Pakistan Air Force installations were struck by India, which led to the degradation of a wide range of aerial platforms and base level support systems of the Pakistan Air Force. I have the article here with me. The article, of course, shows the extent of the damage suffered by the Pakistan military. We can see that as per the latest assessment, at least 21 Pakistan Air Force installations were struck by India, which led to the degradation of a wide range of aerial platforms and base level support systems. Now, this comes not through diplomatic statements, but through a assessment of tenders that has been issued by the Pakistani Air Force, where we see that the Sunday Guardian has accessed these tenders, which show Pakistan Air Force base Shehbaz in Jacobabad issued a contract which calls for bids to restore and manage the base's firing range. Now, this report, what is interesting is it is entirely focused on strike related restoration, and we can see some other tenders that have also been issued at the base in Noor Khan and Rawalpindi, as well as multiple tenders issued that were for the repair and replacement of components that were specific to Chinese JF-17 fighter jets. And of course, these all the air bases at Rahim Yar Khan and Sukur also figure prominently in the assessment. So we can see that all of these were significantly in India's original strike list that was released after Operation Sindoor. So these tenders show us that this was all the extent of damage after the operation, and what Pakistan is now scrambling to sort of go through. Recover from this damage inflicted by India. So I would once again like to ask you, Sir, Major General Anuj Mathur, defense expert, who is live with us on the broadcast. So firstly, of course, thank you for joining us. We can see that after the Navy, Pakistan's air bases have also been attacked after Operation Sindoor, and we now see after almost a month it has been now after Operation Sindoor, the extent of the damage that was inflicted. So how are you viewing this situation? How do you view Pakistan's current military capabilities in wake of the situation?
See, Malvika, the issue is our initial aim. Why? That is why, you know, when you said that the initial briefing, they didn't figure, because our initial aim was not anything else but to hit those 9 terror infrastructure or terror centers. That was the only aim. We fulfilled that aim, and post that we told them, look, we have achieved our aim. We are not wanting to do anything. We don't want to escalate. And if you react, if you act, we'll react. So other 2 things that have taken place on the next day and the next day are only in retaliation to Pakistan's actions of swarm drone attacks. So the issue was that we never wanted to strike their military installations. 1, we never wanted to strike their logistics installation. 2, but when they tried to do that in India, we responded. On the second day also we responded only by doing degradation of their air defense resources. Again, they didn't take the lesson, and they again tried something, and then we went and destroyed, or I will not call them destroyed, degraded their air capability in terms of striking their airfields, causing damage to the aircrafts and causing damage to the logistics and communication systems on the airfields. The attacks were so well planned and so beautifully, meticulously planned and executed with surgical precision, Malvika, that every single missile that went hit the target. What has actually happened is that we have not destroyed anything, but we have caused extensive damage, because of which, 1, they have to sort out the technical issues of the airfields. 2, they have to take care of the airfields, runways, because runways have been damaged extensively, and also the ATCs and other things. So to my mind, the damage has been quite a bit, and that is why, you know, the naval action, these actions, and the pressure from the US, that all these things put together have forced Pakistan to come on its knees. It will take them a while. But one thing I want to tell you, that to get the air assets back into shape does not take that long, as much as if we had struck their naval facilities. A port, to get, if it is destroyed or if it is extensive damages caused, would have taken months to recover. Maybe more. So what I'm trying to say is that the losses have been extensive, damages have been extensive, and because so much so that they had to come down to their knees and ask, now let us have a ceasefire of, we'll not call it ceasefire, the cessation of hostilities, Malvika.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for taking out the time to join us on Newsx. Meanwhile, Commander Anil Jai Singh, Navy expert, is also joining us live for more. Sir, these articles by the Sunday Guardian show the extent of damage, incurred by the Pakistani Navy as well as the Air Force after Operation Sindoor. And not just Operation Sindoor, Pakistan's Navy currently, 3 of 5 Augusta submarines are currently out of commission. Meanwhile, the Hangar submarine that Pakistan sees as its support are also facing delays. So how do you view the current state of the Pakistani Navy?
So the Pakistani Navy has never really been a Navy which can challenge the Indian Navy. It has been a Navy which believes in what we call a sea denial strategy. In other words, their endeavor is that they would deny the sea to the enemy rather than control the sea from the enemy. So that's the difference between sea control, which India follows with the Blue Water Navy, and sea denial, which Pakistan follows. So sea denial automatically suggests that the best way to deny the sea to the enemy is by your submarines, because if you have submarines operating in an area, the Navy would be hesitant to come into that particular area, and also the submarines have the advantage of stealth. So Pakistan has always focused, if you see over the years, on a very potent, small but potent submarine arm, while its surface navy has been, they've taken leads on ships on second-hand leads from countries and all, and never really focused on their surface navy as a war-winning strategy. But sea denial has been their basic aim. So Pakistan got 2 Augusta submarines way back in the late 70s. Those were called the Augusta 70. And then they got 3 more Agusta submarines in the late 90s, early 2000s, which were called the Agusta 90B. The third Agusta 90B was built in Pakistan, and it had what is called the Air Independent Propulsion System. Now, subsequently thereafter, when these submarines became due for their major refits and overhauls, they were sent not to France, which was the original country they came from, but they were sent to Turkey, because a Turkish company was able to undertake these repairs for them, perhaps at a cheaper cost or whatever may have been the reason. So all the 3 Pakistani submarines were extensively overhauled and refitted in Turkey in the last 5 or 6 years. And all the 3 submarines were now fitted with the Air Independent Propulsion System called the MESMA system, which has been developed by France. And there are only 3 MESMA systems in service in the whole world, and only on the Pakistani navies. No other navy has chosen the MESMA system. Now, when you come to what was the availability of the Pakistani Navy during Op Sindhu, now if you take these 2 Agusta class, the Agusta 70s, they are all now almost 45 years old, 40 to 45, 50 years old. So obviously they would not be in the most optimal operational condition to go, fight a war. Perhaps they're being used for training and limited deployment, limited operational deployment. Whereas the Agusta 90B are their more potent force. Now, when you say there were only 2 available and 3 were in dock, this is not unusual. In any case, when submarines are being operated, we generally operate on an assumption that 60% of our submarine force will be available at any time. So instead of 2 out of 5, Pakistan would have had 3 out of 5. Now, submarines have to routinely go in for refits and repairs. Now, firstly, I think this whole Op Sindoor was not something that had been pre-planned by Pakistan over a long period of time, like you prepare for war. So you get your ships ready in time, you get your ships, prepared, you finish off refits quickly, you arm them better. This was a more, I think, a quicker sort of operation. It was done on the spur of the moment. And so there wasn't enough time probably to pull those submarines out of refit and into operations. Had the war probably continued, had it escalated, and had it been a long protracted war, these submarines would also have been pulled out of the refits and sent to sea. So 2 out of 5 is not unusual. It could have been better, perhaps, submarines have various types of refits. They have short refits, they have long refits, they have, medium refits. So it depends on how long the submarine has gone into refit for. So Pakistan obviously was not at its optimal naval capability during Op Sindoor. In any case, even if it were, and this is what I would like to emphasize, even if it were, it is no match for the Indian Navy. As far as the Hangar class goes, there are 8 Hangar class AIP submarines which China is supposed to provide to Pakistan. 4 are being built in China and 4 are going to be built in Pakistan, or are being built in Pakistan. Now these submarines, I think, were supposed to start entering service from 2024, but they've got delayed. Now I think they probably will start entering from maybe end of this year or 2026, because whenever a new class of submarine comes, it takes time for it to settle down, conduct sea trials, etc., etc. But I believe there is some issue with the engines for these submarines, because initially China was supplying submarines, many years ago with German engines, but Germany has stopped all defense export to China. Absolutely zero defense export to China and Pakistan. So now China is offering these submarines with Chinese engines, which Pakistan is, I understand, not too happy about. Thailand also was going to buy submarines from China, but because the Chinese said we can't give you German engines and we'll give you Chinese engines, Thailand cancelled that contract. So that is a sort of, I think there's a little bit of doubt on the reliability of Chinese cutting-edge equipment. China has also given 4 frigates to Pakistan, the Type 052, which have been operational for a few years, but reports have periodically surfaced that there are certain issues with their engines, etc. also, but that is something that...
Well, sir, thank you so much for joining us. We're sadly running short on time, but I would like to thank you for joining us with those details and your expertise. Meanwhile, that's all for this bulletin. We'll slip into a short break.